Then
I always rounded up 50 grand.
is there anybody behind the
No.
podium? No. Okay, I'm gonna bend down. It is 7:01. In the stead of Chair Wortendike and Vice Chair Rand, I've been asked to chair this meeting, so we are called to order at 7:01. Now, as the secretary, I will call attendance. Okay, Mr. Wortendike is excused. Mr. Rand is excused. Ms. Colchimero. Present. Ms. Dillon is present. Mrs. Dykstra-Dinelli.
Here?
Ms. Eckers is excused. Excuse me. Ms. Ramos?
Here.
Mr. Tao?
Here.
Mr. Valentine?
Present.
And Mr. Boyd?
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Okay, so different. Okay, do we have any public comment? Okay. President Wood?
Thank you very much. You have my president's report, and I hope you'll take some time to read it. This month on Cliff is a little bit of a paradox because I talk about summer magic and especially some time with my grandchildren, but I also talk about my concern about the discourse that's going on in this country. And one of the things that I really have to think about is how we talk about what's going on with this country and how the civil unrest that's going on and how we treat one another as a community, and to try to figure out a way to have some sort of ongoing dialogue about that in the fall. It's a real concern to me because we've always enjoyed a relatively peaceful campus, but when we look at the world around us, it's not the simple place that it was. So I'm going to think a little bit about that, and I think actually I've made the decision at startup to talk about that a little bit. And I will do that in the context, as you know, this past spring, I had 2 task forces, one on peace and tolerance, and I have a really excellent report from them about some activities that I'm going to ask the co-chairs of that committee, Tom Delatorre and Andrea Wintegard, to make a presentation. And then we also had one that talked about multicultural studies and how we look at the similarities and differences of all segments of our college community. And Christian Midway and Eileen McCabe chaired that, and we're going to talk about that. But I think we really are at a point now where we have to go back and have some kind of dialogue and talk about that, and especially in the midst of what may be a very contentious presidential election. I want us to have some conversations and really, I think it's time we have to talk about race and class and how it impacts the campus. So we will do that. 2 things in my president's report that I would draw your attention about that I'm very pleased about. One is a picture and plaque that Dr. Christopher Baker received, and he was at the Carnegie Foundation National Pathway Forum. And as you know, the Carnegie Foundation has provided a huge amount of money to improve the pathways for students from move to high school to college. And we are the model for SUNY for the Quantway program. And Dr. Baker has really headed up that initiative. And so he was recognized by the Carnegie Foundation at their national forum with one of their 4 leadership awards. And I'm very pleased for Dr. Baker, and I'm very pleased for us. And it really is quite an extraordinary honor to have a faculty member of our college. And as you know, I will be having Dr. Baker talk to you in August or September about our new Biotech Innovation Center that we will be opening in the fall at IRG in Pearl River. And the other is a note about our athletic teams and their academic achievement. And we received word from the American Community College Association of Athletics that our women's basketball teams, their average grade point average for all members of the team was 3.45, which has put them in the top 10 of grade point averages for women's athletic teams for the year. And I think, and then they listed a number of them that in several teams, both in golf and tennis, and who had outstanding academic awards. And I'm going to invite this group of students to our August board meeting, and maybe right between the board workshop and dinner, we can have a brief reception at the beginning of the meeting and present them their certificates and recognize them, because I think to both highlight athletics is a good thing these days. It may attract the attention of some local students, but to more importantly say that you can also be an athlete, you can be a really superior student is what the message we want to give. And so I think it's worth giving them some sort of recognition. So I will ask that you do that at our August meeting. And the only other thing is we continue to make real progress with our automotive center and are working with Ford and Chrysler and moving forward with having major programs with them. And then we are looking forward to, we had Senator Larkin on campus for the announcement of the funds he's giving for our field house project, our locker rooms and restrooms, and that's a slow process, waiting for all the approvals from SUNY, but we're moving forward. And slowly but surely, our demolition of the amphitheater and our Peace Garden will move forward. So we're very excited about that. And I think we will at our August meeting. I'll ask you to think about it and send you some information ahead of time to have a conversation about our residence hall to see whatever questions or concerns you have before we take any further action, if there are any concerns at all about moving forward with that project. So that's my report, unless there are questions.
We have a consent agenda in front of us. One thing I would ask, if I read the resolutions, I'm just going to cough the whole night. So, would you do that?
One of the board members rather do it. So the consent agenda, the first resolution is the approval of the first item on the agenda. Is the approval of previous meeting minutes of 6/23/2016. The second is the approval of the lowest responsible bidder for the replacement of deteriorated sidewalks with stamped concrete, contract number RFP PF 0516, resolution 35/2016. 3 is the approval of the lowest bidder, credit card processing merchant services, contract number RFPFA 02-16, resolution 36/2016. 4, approval of agreement between RCC and Rockland Farm Alliance for Greenhouse Project, resolution 37/2016. And 5 is the approval to retain the services of the firm of Isaacson Miller to conduct a presidential search at Rockland Community College, resolution 38/2016. All of these resolutions were discussed at the workshop meeting previously held.
I move the adoption of the consent agenda.
I second.
Yeah, before we vote, anybody have any questions? Is there anything that needs to be discussed? Yes.
I think I have to abstain from the vote on the previous meeting's minutes.
Yes, so we need to separate that.
Excuse me.
Ben, when we separate that, do I give it a different number, or I just put down minutes?
Just make a, we'll have a motion on the minutes and a motion on the consent. It won't be a
Right.
resolution. It'll be just say that
Right.
we have one motion voting on the minutes and then another motion voting on the consent
Okay,
agenda.
okay.
I'll abstain as well since I was absent.
Then we don't have a quorum.
So, okay, I won't abstain.
You read them?
They're fine.
Okay.
He read them.
Okay, so on the consent agenda, with the exception of the previous meeting minutes, all those in favor? No, we already approved it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, on the adoption of the minutes, could I have a motion, please? Somebody?
I'll move it.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion? I did check the corrections that we made at the workshop are in here, so they're corrected. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Yes. Okay, report, academic affairs. Okay, it's something.
In the absence of the provost, Dr. Susan Deere, you do have her written report. I will entertain any questions if there are any. Hearing none, I will proceed with my written report, the report from Student Services. I do want to share again that we have made our final decisions and we will have a Dean of Student Development joining us the end of August. Ms. Antonia Boykin comes with 20 years experience in higher education. She's joining us from LaGuardia Community College, and we are looking forward to having her, and we are confident that she will be a great asset to our student development team. Additionally, we have closed the enrollment numbers for the summer enrollment, and our FTEs are up 2.1%, which is a positive thing. And this time of the year, right now, we are just concentrating all our efforts on bringing in the class, which will start in approximately 45 days. So it really is the full court press. Once again, we'll be instituting weekend enrollment hours the last weekend in August. We are making phone calls. We are putting out our new commercial. I don't know if you had the opportunity to see the earlier commercial, which is now airing. And so I also am putting together a grid so that at the August meeting, we will be able to review the number of high school program courses we're looking to offer in the fall versus where we were last year. And we should see a significant increase there.
When do orientations begin?
We started orientations this fall early, so we've already begun the cycle. We started late May. Starting next week, we will have them once a week, so we anticipate seeing 200 students each week. And that should bring us up to our number. After August 18th, we will start what we call our walk-in orientation, which includes an online version of the orientation and still the group advisement process.
Anybody else? Thank you.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So following up on what Dr. Wood mentioned earlier, I would like to invite any of you who want to come and see the third floor of Brucker Hall. It's actually quite, it looks very nice. I think I might move in there too. And the second thing, unfortunately, I cannot give you any update on the roof project for the field house because I haven't gotten any updates. So that's a project that was approved by the county when they approved capital projects, but so far we haven't heard anything. If there are any questions, then don't forget to answer. Thank you.
Board Secretary, we did get one communication. This is from the family of Isabel B. Wartendike. Thank you very much for your donation to the Marydale Faith and Life Center. It's greatly appreciated. That is from Chair Wartendike. That's it. We don't have a foundation report. NICET report, I have gotten nothing from NICET since Cynthia Demarest resigned, with the exception of one bit of information that I passed on to the board. I'm so embarrassed, I honestly don't remember what the focus of it was, but that's all I've gotten.
Excuse me, may I go back and just, I'm sure if Mr. Rand were here, would remind people about the golf outing in August, and if you can participate in the golf outing, I know the foundation would appreciate that, or at least and/or attend their dinner on that evening, and I think you have that information, or Ben can help you with it if you need it. I'm gonna say it's August 15th.
August 9th.
9th.
Student government.
Do I give the same report?
Yeah.
like in
Yes.
the workshop? Okay, our new secretary, Mary Rick, has been.
Except talk kind of in the microphone.
The new Secretary of Student Government, Mary Rink, has been working very hard to develop specific guidelines for our senators to follow, so that way projects will get done much more easily and they'll be done much better. Otherwise, the new SAB chair, Yatharth Sharma, Mary Rink and I will be attending a student leadership conference in the city this weekend, and it is SUNY sponsored, I believe.
Thank you. Anyone, any old or new business? Not hearing any. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
I think you beat Joseph.
That's a record.
You may have not voted, folks, just a minute. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Thank you very much.